I am Tanya Bro. Welcome to my channel over here on YouTube. And if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I encourage you to subscribe so you don't lose any kind of material that I upload to this channel, and give like to the video if the video helps you. So today we're going to see how can we play and do an exercise, let's say daily, so that our fingers actually have abilities to spread on the chord. So if you have your fingers and you're probably starting to play piano, you may feel like, oh, my fingers have hard time getting to do the chords, especially when we're doing like chords that have 4 notes and we have to spread our fingers. The same thing for the left hand, when we have to do some chords in the left hand and your hand is like, my fingers don't obey. And so this exercise is to make sure that we get that training to get our fingers open. And at the same time, we're going to use this exercise to get our fingers to obey and play, or both hands play at the same time while we're moving around the keyboard. So we're going to start here and then we move and move and move. So our main problem sometimes is that our eyes want to follow both hands, and that's not possible, especially if you're playing here and the other hand is right there. How can you do that? So you have to kind of start learning to either one of the hands you are going to monitor and the other hand is kind of like following. So once you get that training, you'll be able to just move around the keyboard freely, and you feel more encouraged just to move around. So this tutorial, this exercise is just good to start building those skills. Moving hands around, moving the fingers around, have opportunity to move around the keyboard, and at the same time move it at the same time, and also have opportunity to open our fingers, so we have stronger fingers, faster fingers while we move around the keyboard. So let's start with this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Everybody, welcome to another piano tutorial. Today we're going to see how we can move our fingers like this way. How can they basically stretch? How can we do an exercise to stretch our fingers? And at the same time, that exercise help us with both hands, not just one, to make sure that we coordinate them together. So this exercise is basically for those 2 things. First, stretching, making our fingers strong and faster, so that when we are playing, we can move and basically put extra stuff into the chords, or if we are improvising, our fingers can do have the ability just to move around without having to be like too slow. Okay, so let's start with the exercise. Very simple and easy. We're going to do Do, C, E, G, C. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. Make sure you take a look at your keyboard. So the biggest stretch we're going to do is this one over here, these 2 fingers, okay? And this one is kind of like a small stretch. And plus we're doing this, the movement over here. So movement over here, movement over here, and movement over here, okay? And you may be thinking, okay, it's just one chord, but it's the same thing. If I'm doing another chord, I have to do this movement and open up as well. It doesn't matter what chord I'm doing, I have to, I cannot have my fingers like that, basically. Does that make sense? Most of the time, you have to have something like that, like the opening of your fingers a little bit. And sometimes you have to do stretches. That means you have to try to kind of like make your fingers stretch a little bit so you can get the other keys that are around, so that you can make the chord. So these openings are so important, so this exercise help with that. Make sure you do it slow first if you're just beginning, But if you have some more practice, then go ahead and, Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start over here. Hands together, pretty much. The same thing I'm doing with the right hand, I'm going to do it with the left hand. What do I mean? Do, mi, sol, do, sol, mi, do. Okay? And then I'm doing the stretches over here for the left hand, especially these. We're going to quite use a lot. And so we're stretching both hands and we need to play it at the same time. Okay? And then from there, we're going to do the following. We're going to basically do this. We're going to start separating. Like you want to start like very close together. You can visualize both of them. Then when you have this, like you already know how to do this very well, your fingers obey what you need to do, then you want to make a space between the two hands. That means you basically leave one octave empty and you do this. Okay? And then okay, very slow, and then you and then once you get that, go ahead and move your hand another octave and then go ahead and try it. Okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have basically trust your hands at this point, because you at some point want your eyes to take a look at exactly what you're doing, and that will be almost impossible, because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 octave keyboard that I like to do the tutorials on, because I paint I put the notes with a marker and all that, so it's easy to visualize what we're doing. But once you get into the big keyboard, or if you're trying to do this and improvise, you're going to figure out, oh my gosh, this is more challenging. Why? Because you have to practice and make trust your hands, because you cannot see this part and also see this part at the same time. You may slightly peek into one versus the other, and you may end up watching the hand that disobeys the most while you're playing and doing exercises. And why did I say that? Because look, for instance, when I'm improvising, my right hand is right here. Most of the time I just get my focus on the left hand. Why? Because the left hand has to follow a specific pattern in order for this to sound good. And this one is just improvise any kind of like anywhere. You can, it doesn't matter what kind it doesn't fully matter what you're doing here. So basically your right hand is more free and can do almost anything in here, but your left hand has to follow. Like if I start doing like, it won't sound good. But if this, like if I make an error in here, let's say I'll make an error, just still kind of will sound good. Obviously I exaggerated here, but you kind of get the point that it doesn't matter. At this point, the right hand has more freedom than the left hand. So probably at this exercise, you have to kind of like do the exercise slow, and you are going to start trusting your right hand. And then finally move one more octave. So the more you separate your hands, better for the exercise, so that you can start doing this. Okay? And why is this important? Well, while you're playing songs and all that, you want to move all around your keyboard, and in order to do that, you have to start step by step, like little by little, so that you can do it and do it good. Okay? Well, I hope you like this video. you find it helpful, and hope to see you in the next videos. Bye bye.
Y si ya todo se ha olvidado y ya no vuelves a mi lado y el pasado solo queda en el ayer, me quedaré solo pensando lo que pudo haber pasado. Y si ya no te vuelvo a ver, todo huele a final, todo huele a final. Y si te